Introducing animatronic. Initiate starting sequence. All systems audible. Start sequence. Go. Depths of a mind, bent on destruction. Monsters leave their mark, disappearing into the depths again. Emerging. Emerging. Break. Emerging. Emerging. Begin the destruction. Of the raging seas, breaking through monstrous waves, focused on its target. The mind devours its prize.
Greetings, Mech Warriors, and welcome to Martial Olympiad Reborn. I am Bandit B17, and newcomer, at least in my streams, Kamichiwa is here to co-cast for me.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing alright. Unfortunately, MD is not here for the second time, slacker. This time he's fixed his computer issues, but this time he's sick. Likely excuse. Hopefully he's here at least watching the stream and gonna follow the action. But that's alright, because we did pick up Kamichiwa to come in and co-cast on this one, and that's gonna be great because this is gonna be a very interesting match. We got 228 Blackwatch versus Imperial. We've never seen these teams play before, have we? Ever.
Contrary. I believe we've seen this team in every freaking season of MRBC, BFL, MOR, David.
Yeah, this is like the Brewers and the Cubs. You got the I-94 rivalry going on here. These teams have played each other probably thousands of times by now. They know each other very well. And we're going to be seeing him here again in Week 6. This is the final week for Division A MOR. And it's not over yet. I mean, Imperial sitting pretty in first place, but 228 in the hunt. It is possible that they could overtake Imperial, but it is going to be an uphill climb, isn't it?
Yeah, if we see a freaking amazing showing from 228 tonight, we could see them in first place, but they have to win this match and their next match very convincingly.
Absolutely. 228 has one more match that they need to play that is on the schedule against Black Omen. Of course, they've played Black Omen, and it was a 3-2 decision. If 228 wants to take first place, they're going to need more than that from that next Black Omen match. And at this point, against EMP, at minimum, 3-2 decision to even tie up or have a chance at tying Imperial. If they get a 4-1, it makes the odds a little bit better. It's going to be tough, but if they don't pick up at least 3, they're going to be fighting Black Omen for that second position, the second place. Of course, Division A does have prizes, I believe, for that second place slot, so there is still something to fight over. It's not hopeless. They want that second place slot at very least. And Black Omen, you may look at the standings and see, oh, well, they've only won one match, but all of their losses have been pretty close, like 3-2 decisions, and all of their wins have been very convincing, like 5-0s. So they, in terms of points, they're right there behind 228, trying to take that second place slot away.
Yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic for the MOR tournament, as the Div A teams have also been playing Div B teams on their bye weeks. So we've seen, so far, every Div A team has had a 5-0 win against Div B team. So those numbers are getting really boosted by that dynamic this year.
Yes, definitely. There's, I think, one more Div B versus Div A match that counts in the standings coming up. Black Omen against, was it Smoke Adders?
I believe they're playing 228 Death from Above, and then Imperial the week after is playing an exhibition match for Div A against Smoke Adders.
Gotcha. So that, looking at historically, I guess, every single Div A versus Div B match so far has been a 5-0. You can almost just count that as being a 5-0 in the pocket for Black Omen. It would be a huge upset if it did not happen for Black Omen, but you count that 5-0 in Black Omen's pocket, they're going to be right up there fighting for that second place position from 228. So no matter what, 228 needs to play hard today. They need to pick up some drops off of EMP, and then against Black Omen, they would need to be able to win against Black Omen as well if they have any hope of keeping that second place slot. Black Omen, like I said, in the hunt, it's going to be difficult. Every drop counts here. So drop 1 is going to be coming up soon. Both teams in lobby. They're getting readied up shortly here. Looks like they did the map ban. We'll switch over there, take a look. So in MOR, they ban maps at the beginning of the match, and that decides which map is going to be played in Drop 4 and Drop 5. And it looks to me like we're going to be playing on Alpine Peaks for those drops. For Drop 1, however, we're going to be seeing an old favorite. Forest Colony Snow Classic just recently got added back into the game. Of course, Forest Colony got created into a whole new map, much bigger map in MechWarrior Online. They've brought back that classic match, a much smaller map. It was a favorite for a lot of people. We saw it a lot in competitive play earlier on years ago. MRBC, mostly skirmish at the time, so we are, of course, back on full conquest for that in MOR, but a pretty decent map. Now, I haven't played Forest Colony Snow Classic at all competitively yet. Obviously, haven't been playing a lot competitively recently anyways, and back in the day, it was mostly skirmish, so I'm very interested to see how Forest Colony Snow Classic is going to look on Conquest with the current meta. You still with me, Kamiji? Oh, geez, he's not. Well, let's fix that. Stand by. Technical difficulties. Here we go. Alright, so I should be dragged back into that TeamSpeak shortly. Hopefully, I'm not sure what happened there. I did, of course, switch from TeamSpeak to, or from Discord to TeamSpeak for audio because I was having some issues with Discord. I think I need to buy a new computer. That might be a good idea, wouldn't it? Sorry for that, folks. We'll be back in shortly. There we go. I don't know what happened there, but apparently TeamSpeak decided to disconnect. Hopefully that doesn't become a trend. I was wondering why you were so quiet, Comic.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, really, is that just a TeamSpeak issue, or did you turn me down?
No, TeamSpeak apparently disconnected me, and I was not even in the server for some reason. I'm not sure what the deal was, but hopefully that doesn't happen more than once.
I believe we're getting complaints that I'm a little bit too quiet, and I'm out shouting right now, so...
Well, let me turn you up.
Just a little bit.
How about that? Is it a little bit better? I guess we'll find out. Turned you up.
Alright, that sounds good. I believe both teams are ready if you're ready to drop.
Sure. Alright, so drop 1, full conquest. This is an incredibly heavy drop on Forest Colony Snow Classic, on Conquest. Let's do it. Let's go take a look.
It is sent.
I love this little stinger they created. It's like Batman, like the Justice League or something, zooming in and out. It's awesome.
I believe that may be my fault. I mentioned it in the cast, and I think Kurlon added that sound effect.
That is fantastic. So, alright, let's get action going here. Forest Colony Snow Classic. Some of the big features here. Hit all of the buttons.
Oh goodness, do you know how to fix the glitch where your camera won't stop moving?
Are you using a controller?
No.
I am
there
not
it
sure.
is.
Alright, well, I am on the 228 side. Like I said, this is an incredibly heavy drop for drop 1. A little bit different than you might be used to if you've watched a lot of MRBC, where they usually start with the lighter drops. But we've got Admiral Korean Jesus in a Mad Dog here. Let's see what he's got on there. LRMs. We got Ultras coming out of One Last Bite. Dom with Ultras, lots of Ultras. This is a push deck if I ever seen one. All these Ultra autocannons, these guys are going to be moving as a pack, moving forward, and just trying to isolate targets as they push. They are Imperial playing a bit of a standoff. What do we have for mechs over here on the Imperial side?
Looks like a lot of AC2 and DACA. We got Annihilator 2As, the Direwolf Ultraviolet, and we also have Elith bringing out AMS to counter that the LRMs we saw from Mikado Soul. So this would be interesting.
Yeah, looks like McGoat and the Grasshopper has some AMS as well. Some of those Lurms are making contact, though, even though they have that AMS in play.
Well, they pulled Seleth off to the side here, so his AMS isn't helping as much. But he's coming back in, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue now.
So in terms
It
of
looks like they're
percent,
making a huge play for Theta here.
228, Admiral Korean Jesus is down to 61%. Dom down to 66. He's that lead mech up there right now. They've taken a lot of damage on this push. Imperial starting to rotate through into water, just trying to keep them at arm's length as they move through. But so far, a lot of damage dealt from these Imperial mechs into the approaching 228. They've finally reached, I think, the range that they want, but even at this range, Imperial is going to have a lot of fight, and they've got a bit of a lead here in terms of just how much damage they put down. Archon, Adam Starner coming around the corner, getting met with a lot of fire, getting shredded down to 56%, and a quick kill. The Mad Dog goes down at the hands of Seleth in the backfield in a Nova coming around, getting a key gank there. And 228 is now starting to split in half here. Rick Rom and Seleth over on this right side. Stimrog in the Mauler getting a big kill against One Last Bite. 2 mechs down now for 228, and they are still split. Archon now isolated, getting pushed hard by Bowser and Reckless, down to 37. He gets shredded down. Not looking good for 228. They need to start scoring some more kills. Seleth getting a big one on Dom.
Gillakuda's going to go down here in just a second, stripped. So he's already out of the fight.
This is looking
Totok
really
goes
good
down.
for Imperial. 3 mechs remaining for 228. Jiffy down to 48. Easy to focus fire when you've got 4 mechs to their 1 at this point. Panic Button and Gillakuda, last remaining 2
Looks
mechs,
like
and
Panic
now
Button was the last one alive with guns.
and they left the commando
And
left.
he goes down.
An easy 8-0 in favor of Imperial. Not much to that one. Just Imperial setting up in water, a very standoff setup there, and 228 just kind of marching their way right into it. Let's take a look
Yeah, we
at the
saw some
damage here.
excellent kite strategy from Imperial there, just pulling those little bit shorter range Daka mechs back into the water where their firing line just had a huge advantage as they came around those corners.
So in terms of, oh, look at that, they added capture time. That's an interesting stat. In terms of damage though, 882 coming out of Stimrog. That Mauler MX-90, classic mech right there, just putting down those autocannon shots hard. Chimera and that Annihilator. Essentially, when you're playing that kind of strat, it's just sitting in water, the Annihilator is a great mech for that because you're not hiding behind anything. You're just silhouetting and just using your raw firepower. Annihilator's not a good side peek mech. It's not meant to just poke out, get damage, and poke back in. It's too slow for that. But it's an excellent doorstop, and that's exactly what it did there, is he just laid on the trigger the entire time, put out some impressive numbers against 228, and that was a nasty start. With how much 228 needs to get some momentum here and pull some wins, not the best start. I think they probably weren't hoping for one like that. 8-0 decision.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't forecast the rest of the matches. I believe though that map with all that weight heavily favors Imperial, just as they are proven to be some of the best shots in this game. Well, some of the strategies, 228 pulls out some crazy strategies, so it'll be interesting to see what they do on some of the lighter drops when they have more mobility.
Yep. So we're only seeing 4 Skyline Snow for 1 drop, because we will be moving into Grim Plexus for drop 2 and drop 3. Of course, they will be switching sides, so if there's any asymmetry to the map, that will get taken care of by having those team switches in there. But just looking back on Forest Colony Snow, both teams taking relatively similar decks. They had an LRM mech out there for 228, but then you had the AMS counter in there, which was, you know, I guess I didn't expect to see that, but with all the, what has it been, a lot of ATMs and stuff on the field lately?
Honestly, for drop 1, there's been a lot of teams that have been bringing these LRMs. This is not the first time Blackwatch has brought LRMs either. Black Omen has done it as well, so I'm not too surprised to see Seleth bring out that Nova. This is actually, I believe, the second time he's brought it out, and he ran out of ammo the first time he brought it. So that was interesting to see. There was so many lerms that he ran through 2 or 3 tons of AMS ammo.
And they had at
This time
least
he brought
3
a
mechs
laser
on the
AMS
field
though.
that had, like, he had the laser AMS, and then there was 2 mechs that had the normal AMS on it as well. So they were definitely accounting for that. The LRM's pretty much a non-factor in this. But really, Imperial just posting up in water, able to just take the time to make their shots. If any of them did take any fire on the approach, they just basically step behind a rock and they're okay. So it's very easy to filter out hurt mechs. But on 228, just playing that aggression, the moving mid-range essentially, it's tough to focus down targets when you're doing that because you're also moving in and out of cover. The whole time you're moving, you're taking damage. The lead mech gets beaten down. He has to filter to the back as well, which we saw. But every single time that lead mech gets shredded down to 60%, what do you have left once you're actually in the range? If you're going to be doing something like that, and if you're going to be pushing that aggressively, you need to be putting out as much damage as you're taking. If they were up against PPCs or something like that, and they were able to get into that closer range, they probably would have done a lot better just because now they're playing in the range they want to be in. But when both teams essentially bringing very similar decks in terms of firepower, in fact, I mean, Imperial posting up a few mechs that I think just are superior when it comes to just standing still and shooting. You gotta keep up on that damage, and it just, their output was not there.
Yeah, with how fast that match went and how much DPS Imperial brought to the field, the high burst of 228 just wasn't enough to keep up, especially in that first engagement as they were moving up. And they didn't have enough time to do damage with strikes or anything, so I think the higher just DPS and sustain is going to win that fight every time as long as you have a decent firing line.
The only thing I can think of is when you ascertain that Imperial has no interest in leaving Beta, no interest in pushing up and engaging you, at least in the interim. You got that commando out there. He says they're all sitting in water. You can't just keep pushing that. You're basically feeding your team directly into their grinder. Like, at that point, you start thinking about holding a 3-cap, forcing Imperial to play on your terms instead of just offering your mechs up for a sacrifice. That's the only thing I can think of is you realize they're playing mid-range, you're playing mid-range. Let's slow the match down a little bit. Take Kappa, take Sigma, take Epsilon. Try and draw them out of water and maybe start isolating and winning some individual fights instead of just basically feeding your armor to them and letting them just roll all over you like that. I don't know if things just got away from them or if they felt too committed that they couldn't slow it down at that point. But you had a commando on the field. You had to be able to get the information you needed and make a call based on that. It just felt like a very generic, just push, just push, just push. How often does that work, though?
With the high burst mechs that they have, it has worked in the past. A lot of teams have been using that strategy, but a hard count of that is the AC2 firing line spam. There's just so much DPS on the field that you barely have time to get close before you send a torso just gets shredded. And people like Chimera and Stebrog and Bowser, they don't miss. So when you get close like that, that's getting to the close range for high burst is so difficult.
Yeah. And even still, if you do draw it into a slower match and you start to try and 3-cap and hold it, then you'll see Imperial start to make their move. They'll start to roll corners. They'll start to pick you apart. You still have to have a contingency for how you're going to handle that situation. If you built your entire strat on just, let's just push them, how do you audible out of that then? And, like, what can you do differently when you realize that it's not going to work? Or do you just try and put your stock in being able to land your shots as you're pushing? I mean, that's really all it comes down to. At least you're shooting at a stationary target and you're a moving target, but like you said, those guys don't miss. They don't miss. They just straight up out DPS'd them.
Yeah, I would have been interesting to see them like pull back to Charlie 4 or Sigma area, back in the very back of the map, and try to hold that 3-cap of Kappa, Sigma, and Epsilon, but that call is something you honestly have to decide to do that before the match. As soon as, you know, that push W strat with as much weight as they had and the lower mobility, it's hard to pull back out of there, especially, you know, once Dom cleared the corner and goes down to 60%. If you call it then, you're down a mech, basically.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of, I mean, information is ammunition, and you had a commander on the field. Before Dom ever stuck his head out, you should have seen that firing line there and knew what was going to happen. They should have been able to audible out of that before a single shot was even fired, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not on the field. I don't know what they saw, but I just don't like running strats where it's you say this is what we're going to do and there's no possible way you can ever break out of it to try and adapt to the situation that's occurring. It's the match was essentially lost before they even launched, and that's rough.
True. The only other thing I can think of is maybe they saw Seleth poking his head out in that Nova. He was a little bit isolated, but I mean, he's got the speed to get out of there before it becomes a dire issue. And they maybe called to push him while he was ISO'd, but then again, it didn't work out. So
Yeah.
That one needs to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
That's a rough start. 8-0 decision. It kills the morale too. So 228's gonna have to say that match didn't even happen. We're going fresh into drop 2. Of course, drop 2, Grim Plexus Domination. Definitely an interesting map for Domination, since that circle, it does tend to favor one side, I've seen. It's easy for a mech to get in there and start shaving some seconds off, kind of forces one team to have to be aggressive, because you get in, you get 10 seconds on the clock. Now you can sit pretty and wait for... Did it move? Am I crazy?
The map strat? Yeah, I changed it.
No, I'm just saying, did they move the domination point?
Yeah, they moved it over
shit.
to Golf 7, Fox 7.
Just goes to show how much I've been paying attention. It used to
that
be
was
right in
a
the middle, and it
couple
was
bad.
horrible. I hated it. So I'm glad that they moved it. How has that been? You obviously are competing in MOR. How have you guys felt this domination point on Grim Plexus compared to how it used to be?
Real quick, getting complaints that the background music might be a little bit too loud.
All right.
So we have yet to play Grim Plexus in MOR. However, playing it in quick play, it's been a lot better. It does tend to NASCAR a little bit harder, and for comp, I think it's going to be a lot better actually, because those ranged positions over at Gas Station and Hotel 6 and the Mountain in Fox 6 Echo 6, I think those are going to be a little bit less viable than they have been, because if you have a brawl back behind the other side of the hill in the circle in Golf 8 Fox 8, those ranged positions at Gas Station and the Mountain, they can't overwatch that.
Yeah, it seems like this is going to draw it into a much more closer range engagement. I mean, there's obviously a hill on both sides of that circle, and you could fire back and forth through the circle, but ultimately it seems like there's plenty of cover to move as a team. Maybe a little bit of NASCARing possible on the circle, but I feel like this is going to be mid-range at max. I don't see... maybe they could hide a mech in on the circle so at least the clock gets stopped and then they could play a range against them. I've seen that done before on, say, like Polar, where you just have a light mech sitting in the circle and everybody else just plays ranged. Especially with this light of a deck, I guess it could be possible. But... yeah, with that news, I mean, that was my biggest complaint with this map, is having that domination point dead center. It essentially favored whatever team was coming from that right side, because they can just get in behind that little hut in the middle and just hold the circle for 10 seconds. They get there first, and you get to the circle finally. Now you're down. Now you're forced to move. Obviously, in MOR, it's kind of moot, I guess you could say, just in that... with the asymmetry, it kind of works itself out because they play both sides. But when you're trying to get as many drops as possible, you really want both sides to be as equal as possible. You can't afford to have, well, we'll win this one and we'll lose this one because of the asymmetry. You can't afford that in this. You need every drop possible.
Especially with 228 right now on the verge of becoming last place in their division.
Yeah, that's rough. So yeah, they need this, and I'm really interested to see how this domination circle plays out. Both teams getting readied up here. Hopefully they can get finished up pretty soon. So we'll do these very light drops 2 and 3, domination on Grim Plexus, and then we'll be moving over to the map ban map, which was Alpine Peaks for drops 4 and 5. After drop 3, I'll be doing a giveaway. Got some mech bays and some MC codes to give away today, so make sure you guys are staying tuned. We'll be giving that
I'm
stuff.
really excited to see the Alpine drops tonight, because previously in MOR, 228 and Imperial had played Alpine, and they played it 4 times in the span of 1 game because of illegal mech choices based off some non-correct information from Just Call Me Ash. So we've already seen Alpine peaks with these 2 teams 4 times. So I think at this point they have a decent idea. They know what both teams are going to do, and it'll be interesting to see the counter-stratting from the previous drops in the season.
Absolutely. So looks like we're getting really close here. I'm excited to see how this one plays out. 228 coming off a really rough drop 1. I'm interested to see what they do differently this time. Imperial probably feeling pretty good about this so far, but there's only one way to find out, and that's to get in there and take a look.
We go loading into the match. I'll be excited to see if they decide to bring a range strat here. I would really love to see it, because I think some of these range positions are really, really good positions, but with the domination circle being where it is, it may not be as viable as it used to be.
That is very true. Yeah, I mean, there's just you got the hill right in the middle, so there's a dip on all sides of the circle. That east side of the circle, maybe not as much of a dip, bit of an open field there. Let's take a look at some of these mechs here.
So what do you see on 228 side?
Well, I have to go over to the 228 side because they just happen to be on the other side of the map. I've got piranhas. We got ourselves a bit of a wolf pack here, breaking off to this left side. 2 inks and 2 piranhas. Inks and purrs. They're wolf packing off the left. Then we got ourselves a Zeus. Zeus is loose. Supernova, Warhawk, and then a Flea. So 5 light mechs and 3 very, very heavy boys for 228.
Did I really hear you say Zeus?
A Zeus is in fact loose
That is
with
an
5
interesting
ER
pick.
large lasers. So
I actually really enjoy that mech. I think that'll be a really interesting pick. However, it is strange to see so much weight in one mech that's an Overwatch mech.
they've got 3 huge mechs, Warhawk, Zeus, and Supernova, playing range. They're busting off to this left side. They've got to flee in the circle early, 46 seconds, so they've shaved 14 off of the clock. Looks like Imperial's sending a Piranha Stimrog kind of scouting out that mid side, but they don't know that there's a wolf pack coming around the back side. But it looks to me like there's 2 mechs here. Bowser in the Dragon on this right side. He might be the first to see this wolf pack coming in. Here comes that range fire. Bowser and this Dragon,
like
very
Bowser
dangerous.
may not see these guys till they're right on top
This
of him.
could be a pretty big gank here if they can end him quickly. Looks like we got to push up from Imperial. They saw the ranged mech. They are pushing now to close the gap in on those ER larges. But now, here we go. Bowser down to 76%. The gank is on, turning
They
his
took
back
right
to
on.
the ERs.
He is stripped.
And he
They
is
took his right
stripped.
arm.
Big pickup there by the Wolfpack. I don't know if they're going to spend any more time on it. Stimrog and the Piranha now in the middle of that Wolfpack. They might be able to dispatch him quick, but they need to help their larger mechs out quickly. And it looks like they are going to call
Imperial
off.
is committed to these heavier mechs. They have pushed up all of their brawly mechs onto the Supernova and Gillicuda and the Zeus.
That's probably the best bet. Get into that ER large range and jump on them and get the job done. That Wolfpack now is there to assist, but they're about to lose all of those big boys. And Ed in the Piranha picking up a kill on Chimera in that linebacker, but McGoat coming back with one on the Supernova. So one of the big mechs is down. And it looks like that that fast brawl group now getting mixed up in the middle of the Wolfpack. Gillicuda in that Zeus, down to 57%, and they are able to strip him down and kill him as well. But still a lot of firepower on the field for 228, despite losing 3 mechs already. Dom in that Flea gets taken down as well, but Ed picks up a kill against Stimrog against that Piranha. That's a big pickup for those lights. Archon Adam Steiner, the last large mech remaining, down to 59%. He is surrounded, and he gets a big kill there on Selith in that commando. Down to 38%. He gets taken down. Actually, self-destruction, but he was able to pick up kill before the end of it there. 4-5, but these remaining 4 2/8 mechs in pretty
It looks like
decent shape.
Imperial is actually counting the circle, so if they can stall for 24 more seconds, they win.
They've got this guy set up over here. Bowser, the stripped mech. They didn't finish him off, so he's just sitting in the circle right now. They were able to take his weapons
This will
out.
be a huge misplay if 228 doesn't realize this, and it looks like they're on their way right now, but
It might be too late.
this is going to be close.
They're going to have to run, and they're taking shots the entire time they're running at this point. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that's
They
it.
didn't get it.
They didn't get there in time. It was an
Huge misplay
interesting
by 228.
strat by 228, and they got that early gank on Bowser taking that arm off, but then they didn't kill him. They didn't have time to kill him, and he just basically goes and sits on the circle and effectively wins it for his team. I mean, there was still a hell of a lot of fighting left to do, but essentially it was a 4v4 situation there at the end with a stripped Bowser on the circle. They could have kept fighting it out, but they took that away from him. Big heads-up play there by Bowser to just get in the circle. Capture time of 1 minute 31 seconds.
I guess that just goes to prove that even if they take all your weapons, you're still effective to your team.
Absolutely. Very effective. Good heads-up play there. Well done by Imperial. Just that... Man, 228 almost pulled that off, though. Like, the early weapon gank, their big boys held out. They actually were able to score a kill before losing all the heavy guys. They were dealing decent amount of damage. The remaining mechs for 228 were relatively healthy, so they still had a lot of fight left in them. And if they could have gotten into a position where they were fighting inside the circle, they might have been able to pull that off. But they had it robbed away from them. Wow.
On a firepower standpoint, it was very even, but on a mech standpoint, having that extra mech meant that they could just toss Bowser into the circle. He's completely useless otherwise unless he's tanking for his teammates. And then they just have to fight 1v1s and 2v1s and 2v2s to keep them occupied till the circle counts down.
Makes me wonder how much ammunition Ed still had in that Piranha. 95% on that mech. 2 kills, 289 damage. Still had some fight left in them. A lot of that damage those last remaining mechs took for 228 was while they were desperately trying to run into the circle, too. Imperial able to just kind of follow them and shoot at them. They weren't able to, like, really dodge or duck or anything like that. They're getting shots in the back and everything like that. But still, like, there's a good possibility Imperial was still going to come away with this one. But that was a very unique and interesting strat from 228, and part of me wishes that kind of worked out just because it would have made that just a huge exciting outcome. But Imperial digging in their heels and just good. The other thing too, hindsight's 2020. It was the right call, straight up the right call. You're up against ER large mechs. You've got a fast brawl team. You push them, like just push them. Go kill them. You see ER large lasers on the field. You're not going to sit there and let them wear you down. So them calling the immediate push into the ER large group, very smart play by them, and it got the job done. It probably wasn't as clean as they probably were hoping it would be because of that wolf pack coming in the back and getting a great shot on Bowser's arm, taking that firepower off the field right off the bat. And essentially ignoring Stimrog, running through, and then just starting to chip away at those EMP fast brawlers. But yeah, I mean that was very interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's the right call not to shoot the dragon after you strip it and just move on, especially since they knew the location of the wolf pack at that point, and that's when they called the brawl push. But that one time where Bowser clutches it for his team in a stripped mech, that's what hurts. And I think, honestly, 228, some of the guys, once you die, you got to be watching that clock and making sure that doesn't happen. Because they were seconds away from being in the circle and stopping the countdown. Like, 3 more seconds, it probably would have went to term, but the
Either
closeness
way,
of the match.
just the
is
fact that
so
they
brutal.
made the clock an issue gave EMP an advantage there because they were able to start chasing them into the circle and start shooting them in the back and stuff like that. The only other thing I could think of is if 228 had their ER large mechs spreading out more, which they were pretty spread. They were pretty spread, but if they found a way to maybe send one of them off to the right and then the other guys deep left or something to make them have to tour a little bit longer to give them that much more time to waste for EMP, you know, I don't think the ER large mechs really necessarily did. Let me see what some of these damages are here on the ER large mechs. Supernova, 127. Not enough. 210 for the Zeus. Not bad. Warhawk, 381. You can almost tell which order they died in, essentially. But if they were able to spread it out to make EMP have to run a little bit longer, and even more importantly, in my opinion, if they ran a little bit closer to the Wolfpack, like if they dodged out left to close the gap between them and that gank on the Dragon, the Wolfpack could have maybe gotten into the fight a little bit quicker and maybe would have been able to pull out a little bit more damage before those big armor mechs died. We're talking potentially the game of seconds here. Like if they just delayed a few more seconds, or if they did something a little bit differently, it could have gone the other way. It was a pretty close, exciting match, gotta say.
Definitely. I'm a little sad we're not going to ever know who would have won that brawl, because it was even on firepower, even though the kills, Imperial had one extra mech. But hopefully they will learn from their mistakes on this next drop, and we'll actually get to see a match go to term on kills.
Now, you can't do the same thing again. I mean, really, like, it's almost like they'd be expecting it at this time.
Yeah, that Wolfpack wide flank, I think that's only going to work once as well.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what 228 comes up with this. This is going to be another interesting, unique strat. Are they going to go a little bit more standoffish? Are they going to just brawl into them? We'll have to see.
If we do see some range mechs like that, I think I'd like to see a little bit more DACA or something. Something that if they do get pushed, they have a little bit more DPS and they can do a little bit more damage to those. Well, it's not going to be linebackers again, but if they drop Stormcrows or something fast and brawly, just a little bit more damage to those mechs, so that way, if they do get taken out, their lighter mechs just have a little bit of easier time cleaning them up.
So, drop 3, identical tonnage. Not only that, but there is, of course, in MOR, an interesting rule set that they can't use. Each chassis can only be used 3 times over all 5 drops. So we can't see 2 piranhas this time on 228. We can see 1 piranha. We can't see 2 though. We can only see 1 incubus as well. If they were going to do something similar. So, I mean, there obviously are plenty of other mechs that they can choose to do similar abilities if they so choose to do that. But that's a huge gamble, putting so much tonnage into those 3 assault mechs and then everything else into a light wolf pack. That is such a huge risk. Imperial, of course, making the more stable call of just spreading their tonnage out pretty evenly. Mediums and heavies are definitely decent mechs. You don't put a lot of stock into one person. And what I've found is a bunch of even tonnage mechs typically do better against a couple really high armor mechs, because you take those ones off the field and now that armor is useless. It's gone. It's pretty easy for 8 mechs to get 1 mech down very quickly, even if it is an assault.
Yeah, that seems to be the standard conquest or domination drop for MOR, is like a medium pulse, evenly tonnaged deck featuring linebackers, Vulcans, sometimes assassins, things like that. So pretty standard play or deck out of Imperial. I was surprised to see the Zeus, especially in a lighter drop like this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they were really banking on the ER larges. They just wanted to put out as much damage as they can with those before dying, as much armor and structure as possible to live as long as possible, because bottom line, that wolf pack is what they wanted. They were putting all their stock into that wolf pack, getting ganks, back shots, just real quick burn downs. I don't think they were really banking on those ER larges doing too much before falling. Damage from them wasn't too bad. I mean, like you said, you can tell what order they died in. Still being able to do above 100 damage when you're the first mech to get shredded down by a hard push. Not terrible. Like, it'd be nice to pull 200 before dying first. That, I think, would have been a huge difference. You saw 200, 400, 500 instead of 100, 200, 300 on those damages from those assaults. It could have been a completely different game, of course. But how much of that damage was in on Bowser, who effectively was taken off the field? Like, you know, you can't tell everything. But looks like both teams are ready. Teams have been switched. We are back in on Grimplex's domination. Let's go take a look and see if 228's going to be able to put together a winning strat here.
So I've been told to look out for some memes.
Memes.
I'm excited to see what comes up in the next couple drops. I'll definitely be checking most of the mechs I see. I know you sometimes have a little bit of trouble with that as a controller user, but I'll see if I can pick up the slack and look through some of these mechs.
How many kills did Blackwatch pull on that last one? Oh, they didn't do 8. It was 5 for Imperial, and how many kills for Blackwatch? I think 4.
I believe they had 4 or 3, or 3 or 4.
We'll have to look.
Because Bowser was still alive.
Oh, it was 3. Yeah. Right, I'm just trying to change the spreadsheet so my display is correct.
Capture the target area and engage.
All right. So what? Which team do you want to read out?
Let's take a look here. I'm on the red side right now, so 228. Go figure. Let's take a look here. So we got a linebacker, Piranha, linebacker. That seems like a pretty fast brawl to me. Little bit of a wolf pack here with Vulcans, 3 of them. And then a Wolfhound. Need a pickle in that Wolfhound in the backfield here. So seems like a little bit more even, but still a lot of light mechs on this one. 5 med pulse for the Vulcan.
Looks like we're going to see a little bit more range from Imperial this time. Rather than bringing just one Overwatch, they have a Virago and a Dragon this time. And I believe they're going to be playing together, so that gank on Bowser hopefully will be as bad if it happens again. They have a Crab, a Stormcrow, and a couple Wolfhounds and Piranhas. So this will be interesting. It looks like they're going to have their medium-range mechs play up a little bit closer while their Overwatch can just rein in ER Large and Daka.
So the Wolfpacks are up on the circle. But yeah,
228
228 with these linebackers banking on this hard push on the right side. They are bursting onto the scene here against some of these mediums now with the Piranha in tow. So we got 4 mechs coming in on the right side, some strikes going out. Dom in the Piranha getting down to 89%, but they're slowing it down. They got up there, they're putting the med pulse in, but then you've got the Vulcans coming in on the left side. Panic Button looks like he got legged. Down to 58%, trying to get behind the rock and get some shots in on Stimrog as fast as he can. But he's just trying to keep his mech alive. As long as his mech stays alive, he's still got lasers on the field, but he's lost a lot of mobility. And he gets shredded down by Bowser and that Dragon.
If they can't retrade Panic here.
They have to try and get back up into field, sell it down to 70. That little stagnation on the right side, I feel like they should have just kept wrapping around instead of allowing Imperial to dig in their heels and get some shots. And sell it down to 57%. He's being focused now by those linebackers, but he's pressing up against the wall really well, keeping his mech alive a lot longer than I think he should have been, but they did manage to get the kill. And another big pickup on the Stormcrow. McGoat getting taken down. 2 mechs dead now and 4 Imperial, but 228 has a lot of hurt mechs on the field.
We do also have a small brawl. Jiffy and Charlemagne are going at it in the circle, and if Jiffy can pick up Charlemagne or the other way around, then it could be a
Looks
circle
like Jiffy is legged. Charlemagne is not. And there's a big kill. Charlemagne on Jiffy. Chimera taking down Nita Pickle, but one last bite, trading back in on Stimrog. But now the clock is ticking. They will be forced to move in, but they are so far away from the circle. Hopefully they are paying attention to that clock. 9% for Admiral Crangius, but he gets taken down.
It's 4v4, but Imperial keeping that one mech in the circle means that it's a 4v3 over here on the side. However, they're 25 seconds away from winning it on time again.
Yeah, it looks like they might be spreading one last bite over to try and get over there, but they're so far away, 18, 17 seconds. Dom in the Piranha looks like he's breaking off as well. He might be able to make it in there in time, but now this desperation to get in the circle is costing them armor. Ed in that Vulcan getting taken down by the assassin. And Charlemagne now gets a big leg on Dom. He is not in the circle yet, but he was able to get shots on Charlemagne. Hitting Charlemagne does stop the timer. And Charlemagne getting a big pickup on Dom there.
It's just getting absolutely hammered by Bowser's Dragon here as he tries to push in and save the circle.
And that's it.
Your success and achievements
4
on the
kills,
service.
4 228, 8 kills, 4 Imperial. Another interesting kind of side flanking strat there by 228. I didn't like that they pushed up, got into there, and then just stopped and started trading with medium pulses. I really feel like they should have kept wrapping right maybe and just tried to turn the flank of Imperial, but you can tell like the difference of not picking up the early gank on Bowser's arm is brutal. Pulling up 588 damage. That's a lot of damage in an 8v8 with this low tonnage. So Bowser, of course, a force to be reckoned with, and it goes to show how much you need to take him off the field or you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, it looks like eventually they did push and kill those two Imperial mechs on the right side, being Selith and Magoat, Stormcrow and Nova, but it seems like they could have done that, 30 seconds earlier, and that cost them a ton of time.
Yeah.
Same with Jiffy and Charlemagne in the circle. That 1v1 was another huge decider because it caused, even though 228 had a mech advantage in that brawl, they had to throw away their Piranha and linebacker just to take the circle back.
Yeah. Once
So
again, just a big
1v1.
heads-up play there by EMP, not only winning that fight in the circle, but 228 just taking too long to respond to at least even get shots in to slow the timer down on Charlemagne. And then just the time it takes you to run over to that circle, you're just getting shredded in the back. Like, you've basically, at that point, any advantage you had in that fight just goes out the window. Because now everybody and their mother's running over to the circle just to not lose the match by default. That's the risk you take when you play so far away. But really, they needed to win that fight. And Charlemagne in that Wolfhound, he's definitely a good pilot. He's a force to be reckoned with in that Wolfhound, and he's not easy to beat in a 1v1.
Yeah, that was a huge cut from him. He basically secured that game for his team.
Definitely. So then, just that push up the right side felt really good. They got in there, they got some early shots, and then they stopped and started trading. Imperial, given the time to respond, given the time to start putting some strikes down, I just feel like if they just kept that pressure and then maybe got an instant kill on the Stormcrow, because they start doing this side peeking around a pillar, and so Selith able to keep himself alive longer by like jumping up on the pillar and pressing up against it, forcing 228 to have to wrap around to even finish him off. And the fact that they got kill on 2 different mechs in relatively rapid succession means that they were spreading that damage out. They should have focused one target at a time, and if they weren't able to focus one target at a time, it's a positioning issue. They should have had Selith down immediately, they should have had the Stormcrow down immediately, and they should have been able to systematically move down the line and try and take these mechs out one at a time. But the fact that they stalled out, not able to get their shots in consistently on one target, you've now entered into a trade war. The wolf pack coming up the left side gets stalled out. They have to leave somebody back in the circle. That's rough. I mean, I thought that it had promise. It just got away from 228.
Yeah, I think they just needed a little bit more aggression there on that push. They had higher DPS advantage with those linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only mech that really had insane DPS, the Stormcrow and the Dragon. But that's only 2 mechs versus the 6 mechs that you have in the brawl there. Chimera in the ER Large Virago. he doesn't have enough DPS to keep up with the brawl push if you push through the Stormcrow and the Nova. As soon as you get those mechs down, you can move on to their Overwatch and just get in there and take care of them before the circle even becomes an issue.
Definitely. Yeah, and the linebacker speed, it's speed. That's the linebacker. It's a fast mech. That's its big strength, is to be able to get in there and get the job done. And seeing a linebacker stopping, it's painful. So,
yeah,
moving on to drop 4 now. Tonnage comes up a bit, not quite to drop 1 levels, but we're up to 480. We're back to Conquest now, and we're going to the map ban map of Alpine Peaks, playing it twice, drop 4 and 5. Unfortunately, for 228, this pretty much seals the deal on first place for them. They cannot clinch first place in any way, shape, or form at this point, so they are going to be fighting now to pick up as many drops as possible to give themselves some sort of ability to pull second place away from Black Omen. It's going to be a tough fight, though, because not only that do they have to do well here against Imperial, but they also need to do well against Black Omen. And like I said in their prior meeting, Black Omen losing that one 2-3 against 228, it was a tough fight. It was definitely a close fight. So it's not going to be a big, easy 5-0 stomp, probably. We'll have to see how that goes, though. But they need to pick up as many drops against the Imperial as possible. And if they come away 0-5, it's going to be that much more difficult to pull away with second place. So just waiting on teams to get into lobby and get ready up.
we have seen 228 be really strong on this map against EMP before. They have won drops. So it is possible to see that, even though they're down 3-0 right now. They just have to pick up the pace, win their trades, take map control, and just dominate Imperial here.
So let's go
But
ahead.
it seems to be that Imperial is doing that right back at them. What's that?
Let's go ahead and do a giveaway. Let's start with 1,000 MC, shall we?
That sounds perfect.
Let's do it. We'll be doing more giveaways after the end of the match. So just make sure you guys stay tuned. So we're going to give away 1,000 MC, and then we're going to give away a Mech Bay. And the winner of 1,000 MC, Captain Judas. Congratulations, Captain Judas. You are the winner of 1,000 MC. I will be sending you a message after the stream is done to send you your code. Let's do it again.
Hashtag rigged in chat.
Hashtag rigged. Who wants Mech Bay? We don't need the letter A around here. Who wants Mech Bay? And the winner is Virgo Praz. Congratulations, Virgo Praz. You are the winner of a Mech Bay. Like I said before, I will be sending you a message after the conclusion of the stream. So, more giveaways to come after Drop 5. Of course, we're going into Drop 4. Alpine Peaks just waiting on these guys to get readied up. We'll be moving along.
So Alpine Peaks, I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of ER large, and I would bet my hat that Adam Arkensteiner is going to be in a Warhawk.
That is kind of his jam, isn't it?
It is, and I think it would be really interesting to see the trades that are going to have here. It takes so much discipline to trade well on this map, because if you overpeak and you get hit by a 5-man firing line, you're done.
Definitely. There's a lot of travel time on this, though. PPC is definitely still viable here, but they need to be able to land those on those peaks. Obviously, slower mechs can get hit easier just because it takes a lot longer to get back behind cover. But I wouldn't be too surprised to see some ER larges in action. Maybe we'll see the Zeus come back.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It has been played before on Alpine and MOR, so by my team specifically. I do believe, though, that we'll see Nova Cats. 228 pretty much exclusively has been one of the only teams that has brought the Nova Cat with the addition of the one HSL quirk to ER large on that. So you can fire 3 ER large, clan ER large, and not take Ghost Heat.
Oh, that's big.
So it'll be interesting to see that. I don't believe I know if it has a range quirk or not, but it can keep up with, things like the Battlemaster and some of those bigger mechs with its DPS and burst.
And the nice thing, of course, about the ER larges is it's not an all-or-nothing weapon. You can get little scratches in. If you can catch them on half the beam, it's better than nothing with the PPC. If you miss, you miss. It's gone. But if there's a lot of really tight peeking going on, you can get little scratches in. And as long as you're not taking PPCs to the face in return, it adds up. It's slow, but it adds up. Of course, Conquest, it can be dragged out decently long amount of time if you can hold it to a 3-2 cap. It gives you time to engage, gives you time to work your angles and get your damage in. Gamma, of course, a very far away point. Do you see a lot of light skirmishes over Gamma, or do they usually concede it to one team? I don't know if I lost Kami there. Yep. Oh, TeamSpeak, why? Why must you do this to me? Like I said, I think it's my computer, honestly. Let me try that again. Alright, we're back.
He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, so like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by my horrible computer. Hashtag buy a new computer. Gamma, do you usually see any light skirmishes over Gamma? I mean, in my experience, usually you get 2 lights that kind of mean mug each other, and whoever has the balls to take it, the other one just kind of lets him, maybe gets a scratch or 2. But I don't usually see a lot of fights over Gamma. Have you seen anything recently?
Some previous teams in MOR have committed to Gamma pretty heavily and even given mechs up for it, but I don't believe we'll see anything like that from Imperial. I believe they know when a cap point is lost and when it's better just to get out of there and live to fight another day.
Yeah, that free cap on Gamma, though, can add up, though. It kind of forces you to take a little bit more risks to get the 3 cap back using one of those more advanced points. And especially if you're up against some incredibly long-range mechs, they can really grind you down as you're touring over to pick up those extra caps. So, at the same time, though, you're committing potentially a light over there, and if there's any sort of fast brawl coming in, or any sort of moving mid-range, anything that's really going to put a lot of pain out very quickly and earlier on, you send your light mechs off to Gamma, he's out for a majority of the fight. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see, definitely.
So, team's getting readied up. We're going to be heading in shortly here. 228, not looking so hot so far. I mean, it's kind of been how it's gone against a team like Imperial. Imperial, of course, world champions 2 years in a row. And then, of course, picking up 2nd place under Eon Synergy last year at the World Championship. Very good team. 228 always seemingly outside looking in, but they're always just kind of right there, They got that always a bridesmaid, never a bride kind of situation. They work hard. They definitely work hard.
Yeah, they definitely. It's been a little bit of a sob story here for the last couple of years. I believe they were third 2 years in a row at the World Championships, and they took 4th this year, if I'm correct. I did not follow it insanely closely.
Yeah, it was Imperial, Eon Synergy, and then JGX took that 3rd place spot. last
So just
year.
getting edged out by JGX is just huge, and they really need to pick it up if they want to come back, especially with World Championships coming up and the end of MOR. This is the time to step up 228. If you guys are going to win, do it now.
Yeah.
I know they can. It'll be amazing to see these fights. So far, the matches have been really good to watch.
They got some pretty talented pilots on their team, for sure. And they, you know, Imperial's always been kind of a team where talent gravitates to them. You know, they've got the name. Oopsie. I didn't want to hit that. Now I'm hitting dumb buttons here. Good lord. So, yeah, I mean, they, you know, talent kind of gravitates towards them, and they're able to absorb, you know, players from other teams that are high talent and stuff, and we don't usually see 228 players ending up on Imperial. Like, they've kind of got their own talent pool that they can draw from. They coach up a lot of their own players from their I don't want to say farm teams, but they've got Swamp Foxes and DFA and stuff like that, and they can bring up their own talent. It's kind of homegrown. Whereas Imperial, they attract the talent and are able to put together these elite teams because these players come to them knowing that they've got the
Looks
name.
like we have a brawl on Theta right here. The Incubus from Ed Miser is getting chased off by Celis's fleet.
So a lot of shots coming in. Man, if those PPCs make contact with that fleet, that's going to be devastating. They are able to get a little scratch on him, but he was able to flip Theta, slipping away down to 92%. So he paid a little bit of armor, but able to get that cap on Theta. But they were able to pick up. They never got Gamma. They were attempting to get Gamma, but I was watching that earlier. Charlemagne in that Panther able to get some burn in to prevent the early Gamma cap. Looks like he's conceding it now, but able to get a little bit of damage.
Miser is making another play for Theta, and he has decapped it, but Celith is right there to stop the cap. I believe Ed Miser, he's orange on one leg and yellow on another, so if he keeps it up, he's going to get legged and get taken out quickly.
Yeah, at least he bought his team a little bit of time.
The same, though, on his legs. Not quite as bad as Ed Miser, but he has taken a little bit of leg damage. So if he commits to Theta, that could be huge. Some
good burn in on Celith, down to 86%. But yeah, we've got some just really long range trading going on right now. Chimera and the Battlemaster down to 93% here. But they're putting some decent numbers out against 228. So just in terms of just overall trading right now, Imperial looking pretty good. But we got a little bit of a movement up this left side here. Totok the Potato Hunter and Archon Amstammer in Warhawks moving up the left side. Putting some shots in on Stimrog, looks. That's a really far away Wolfhound.
Up on the hill.
Yeah, he's got the ER larges. Very mobile ER large platform.
I think he's there mostly just to control Sigma, because he can stand there and just poke out whenever he needs to stop the decap on Sigma. However, this main firing line here, I call it Theta Hill, with the Virago, or the Stalker and the Battlemaster.
Ooh, this is big.
And be their main fighting force.
Panic Button and Osiris coming in on the backfield of 3 Imperial mechs. They're getting a little bit of burn on them from up on the hill here, where Ed in the Incubus and then one last bite in a Hunchback, raining some fire down on them, starting to turn some of these Imperial mechs. Is that going to add up to...
It does look like Celith has come back to respawn, but if these lights commit, they could potentially pick up Mighty Rant or McGoat in the Virago.
So Panic Button finally getting some of his shots downfield. He's got to be careful though. Celith and the Flea's relatively close. Celith is just kind of wandering around.
He is running a medium laser build, so that is a little bit hot. I believe Panic, even though he's running ER mediums, may have a little bit more of a DPS advantage just being in a bigger mech with more heat sinks.
Here's the play by Celith trying to get in. He's getting a little bit of scratch on him from up on the hill. The PPCs are going to be tough to land. but the ER large able to help out. Panic now bailing out, and now that he's in transition away from Seleth, he's getting a little burn on him himself. Charlemagne coming in on the backfield too. If they get a big leg on Panic Button here, that's going to be huge. 73%. Just Seleth in general chasing Panic Button out is costing Panic a ton of armor here. And he's now no longer in range of his teammates, so they can't help him out. And there's a big hit. Panic Button does get legged and taken down by Seleth, so that aggression up on that side ended up costing him dearly. 2 caps to 2 caps.
Perfect.
Ticket's very slow right now, but in terms of damage, 228 needed that extra mech.
That's a huge pick on what could be a very close match on caps, and they've lost one of their only cappers. The Incubus is still, he's fast, but he's not as fast as that Osiris in any way, shape, or form. So that is a huge pick. While Seleth still in the fleet, that thing goes 160 kph with Mask.
Stimrog getting kind of beat on up here, but it looks like it's just in his arms. 3 ER larges. Just the arms came off. Those must have been shield arms. So he's still putting some damage down. The smoke on top of those arms, though, can cost him a little bit of surprise when it comes to peeking, because they can see that smoke moving around underneath the hill. So you got to be a little bit careful with that, but he's still doing good work up there and relatively untouched. It's just a good spread by Imperial, good control spread. And now these guys on the hill, now after losing Panic Button, these lighter mechs able to put more and more pressure on that team.
It's like One Last Bite is trying to hit Bowser here, because Bowser doesn't really have too much cover from the high
Seleth
mountain.
gumming up and getting a gank on Ed's leg. Just that Seleth pressure, just moving fast, getting up there, getting the shots in and getting out. He's definitely an annoyance, but it's an effective annoyance.
Yeah, it looks like both teams have UAVs above the mountain, so there's not going to be too many surprise peeks. It looks like Ed's going to get picked here. Legged, being
Theta
hunted
is
by
big
controlled by
strike.
the enemy.
and Seleth.
Bad overheat. Ed down to 30%. He's just trying to do whatever he can before he drops. There is a 3 cap now for 228. Had a little bit of aggression through Theta, but they're losing their hill guys, and that's going to be a big, costly hit.
If they can kill One Last Bite here quickly, they can just back off and take Gamma and reverse the cap situation.
We are getting into the late game, though, so the longer 228 holds a 3 cap, the better for them. One Last Bite definitely needs to keep that Hunchback alive, though.
Looks like they are dropping off the mountain just to stay alive. And they are going to send Seleth back to take Gamma. So it is going to be a reversal on caps here. And I don't think the 50-point lead that 228 has is going to be enough. They need to take something like Sigma or...
They're definitely getting
Sigma.
more aggressive on the field. They've got a lot of these mechs moving up, but Imperial kind of buttoning themselves up. 4 mechs on this hill here, still putting a lot of damage downfield. If you look at just the percentages in general, 228 really starting to bleed away.
We have Gamma.
Yeah, it looks like Ed's one touch and the Incubus not doing too well. Same for One Last Bite. And Admiral Korea, Jesus, and Oblivion over here are just getting absolutely stomped.
So just in general, Imperial's superior firepower, their ability to land their shots, and then just good heads-up plays by Seleth to get in when he needed to most, is starting to add up slowly in favor of Imperial, but it's starting to get a little bit more decisive here as we move into a 4 cap now. Stimrog
Looks
getting
like
a
they're
cap on
taking
Theta.
Theta as well.
Yep,
Yeah.
4-1. That's going to seal the deal against
Resource point Theta
228.
is ours.
We're just gonna have to go through and systematically take out some of these hurt mechs here. A lot of them are one touch in their torsos and legs.
So at this point, 228's just going to be flailing. Everybody on the field is hurt, probably one shot, and Imperial now on the hunt. They're going to come in and they're going to just start cleaning up here. And I'm going to go ahead and just say that there's no
Looks like-
way at this point 228's going to pull this one off. Bowser's stomping
Bowser's
through
getting
his
really aggressive,
Warhawk.
but he might get backshot by Galakuda. Oh, and the goat saves him.
Ooh. And 1 mech remaining. Ed Meister in the backfield in that Incubus. 22% Seleth right up on top of him. And that is all she wrote. Drop 4 goes to Imperial. Another 8-0 decision. Decisive victory for Imperial. just not getting enough damage downfield into those Imperial mechs, and then not winning those close-up fights where they needed it most. Ballsy maneuver, getting Panic Button up in there, getting some scratch on him, but then just Selith answering the call, getting the job done, and getting the big gank when they needed it. And Panic Button probably would have been better off just running up the stinking hill with his teammates still able to make shots, but he kind of kited them off to the side. But you're not gonna outrun a flea. Like, he just kept that pressure on.
Did we catch the build on Oblivion's Huntsman? 31 damage is awful low. I believe he might have been running ATMs.
I didn't catch that.
The only other build I can think of is PPCs. 31 damage with PPCs is a little bit light. So I think they wanted to push that Huntsman up, maybe towards Theta, so he can get into ATM range. But he got shut down by the Warhammer and the Hellbringer from Mighty Rant and the Goat up on the hill, just completely shutting down any push from Kappa's side, while their light mix, just Charlemagne and Selith, just picked apart Panic Button and Ed Miser over on the Gamma side of the map.
You can't ignore Stimrog in that Wolfhound, though. Up in that back hill, what was it, 3 ER large lasers, 80% health remaining, 504 damage. Just constantly a presence, constantly just burning him down. The only thing he lost was his arms, which were his shield arms anyways. They had no... Like, who cares, right? That's all. Like, Stimrog essentially just a beast up on that hill. Like, you can't do a lot with just a single alpha, but just being able to fire non-stop and just be that constant harassment on 228 and fast enough that nobody can touch him back. Just a great presence from Stim. Just, he was basically able to stay up and just be firing the entire match and never had a threat against him. Not one. Nobody able to sneak any light mechs back there or anything like that. They were all committed on the other side of the map. So, and that saves that much more tonnage for the rest of the team to be able to put those big boys on the field, and they got jobs done too. Still though, like, Selith in the Flea, 127 damage, but he did work. He did some stinking work in that mech. It's so frustrating. Alright. As I was saying, Stimrog untouched, did a ton of damage, 504. Selith in the Flea, 127 damage. But still, it was a huge presence and a huge factor in the outcome of that match. Just basically chasing off mechs and getting in up close and just being a harassing, allowing Charlemagne to pull 343. Well, you know, you can't ignore Selith. He's right in their face. You can't ignore him. He didn't need to do a ton of damage. He just allowed the rest of his team to get the job done.
Right. So, one thing I was going to say before you, you crashed. Stimrog up on that hill above Sigma. It's a 35-ton mech devoted to controlling a single cap point. And once you have the initial cap on there, with Stimrog in the position he was, unless you push him off that hill, you can't take Sigma back. And that's huge because War of Attrition style cap games that was a potential strategy 228 could have used. They need Sigma in order to win like that. And with Stimrog being there, just completely shut them down. Not to mention, he basically soloed one or two of the Warhawks.
Yeah. And that's the tough part about PPCs versus ER large lasers, you know? Every PPC shot that missed Stimrog, he's able to get more scratch in on you with his ER large lasers, you know? If you can hit him with a PPC, it's high risk, high reward, basically. You can devastate that mech. But landing those PPCs is not easy against a target that moves that quickly and can zip in and out of cover and be unpredictable on that hill. I definitely couldn't do it. I don't think I could consistently nail someone with a PPC at that extreme range. And then he's just sitting there grinding away at you with those ER larges. It's frustrating. It is very frustrating, but in general, I think it was a very smart position, is a smart mech to put in that role, and I think the only way they could have possibly changed the outcome of that is if they didn't have PPC mechs firing back at him. They had to have their own ER larges, and every time he peaks, they need to punish him. That's the only thing I can see differently. You can't run light mechs up there. You know, they're all busy on the other side of the map, and if you do run a light mech up there, they're just going to get shredded down by the 4 guys that are down on the hill below, because you're running out in the open. It's a very safe position to fight from. The only thing you can really do with that position is outshoot him, and that was not going to happen at all.
Potentially that. Only other thing I can think of, if you don't outshoot him or push him off that hill, is lerms. You could potentially get a nice UAV and arc some lerms over top of that hill, but
that's so risky.
An entire mech for that. Actually, 2 mechs, because you have to have one to run the UAV up.
Yep.
And this is just to deal with a 35-ton mech. It just goes to show how good that position is.
It is definitely a good position. Now, 228, of course, are going to have that position to themselves if they so choose. We'll have to see what EMP does to counter that position now that they've switched sides.
I think for Team 2 on Alpine Peaks, with how potentially unbalanced this map, with Team 1 having complete high ground advantage, it's really hard to spread yourself thin across this map. Like, with 228 devoting 4 mechs to the right side of the map on the mountain and 4 mechs to the left side of the map, potentially, if they had devoted more of their mechs to one side of the map and maybe focused on a 3 cap rather than trying to control Gamma as well, they give up a lot of the map, but if you can just draw the game out with that 3 cap, you can get a lot farther ahead on caps than they were and potentially play the cap game a little bit more.
Do you consider this to be a relatively asymmetrical map? In terms of
at this
balance?
level of the game, definitely. It is very hard to win it as Team 2 in a Div A competitive match. In some of the lower divisions, there's a lot more viable strats you can run. You can do brawl pushes, Staka pushes. You can out-trade teams from Team 2's position in some of the lower divisions. I do think 228, I don't think that we'll get 8-0'd for the next match, being in the Team 1 position. We could potentially see EMP, though, out-trading them and winning again.
Yeah, EMP definitely have some of the best shooters in the game on their team. They're just so difficult to be able to put damage on without being punished back, especially when you get yourself into a position where every time you peek, there's 3 guys shooting back at you, and it just adds up. They're good at setting up angles that can punish you no matter which person you aim at. You know, you can try your best to isolate one mech at a time, or you can try to peek when the guy's not looking at you. But just from my experience, ever playing against EMP in the past, every time you look out, they've got a mech already aiming at you and just filling your cockpit with lasers or whatever every time. Like, you just rarely ever catch them off guard.
Yeah, even if they're not looking at you, these guys have insane reaction time, so they can just flick to you, drop lasers or PPCs right on your head before you have a chance to get out of the way. I believe this could be a huge misplay from 228 not to ban Alpine, because EMP, being as strong shooters as they are gonna have a little bit of an advantage at those longer ranges.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd want to have to play against EMP on Alpine. Not only that, but coming into this match knowing that you have to pick up a certain number of matches to be able to take first or even second place. Picking a map that can be considered at this level asymmetrical in any way, shape, or form. The thought of, like, oh, we'll win this one and lose this one. You got to come into it hoping to win all of them, and putting yourselves in a very difficult position of especially playing the side first that is not the winning side. I personally would say go for a more balanced map so you could have that choice or that potential to win both and pick up both. But at this point, they really need this one against EMP if they want second place. They really do. And especially coming out of this match and then having to go in against Black Omen, that's going to be tough coming off of a loss like this to be prepared for Black Omen. And I know Black Omen, they want this win. They want this second place. They're going to be pushing hard for it, so they got to be ready for it.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see what 228 can do from the Team 1 position. If they go to Gamma again, or if they try to consolidate and maybe do a hard push towards Sigma, try to almost switch the map to face laterally, or horizontally instead of laterally, instead of playing off the northern parts of the map and the hotel and golf lines, they could almost push down to Sigma and take up positions down in Juliet 5 where those Warhawks had been previously. That could be a costly maneuver, though.
All right, well, while we're waiting, since we're waiting for everybody to get readied up here, why don't we go ahead and do another mech bay giveaway? I got another one.
That sounds like a pen.
That sounds like a great idea.
Everybody make sure they have hashtag rig checked out in the chat already so you can just slap the NXT.
Yeah, totally. Kamichi wins. Kamichiwa wins. Rigged.
Oh, most definitely.
All right, the winner of this one is... Temporary Axis winning it by a nose. Congratulations, Temporary Axis. I will be sending you a message afterwards with your code. Congratulations.
A lot of comp players winning tonight.
Gee, it's almost like
Seems
comp players
suspicious.
really like watching competitive play on Twitch. Who would have thunk
They
it?
might get a slight advantage in the giveaway tool.
Certainly possible. So,
So, have you ever won anything from one of these giveaways, Bandit?
like, from my own casts or just watching casts?
Just, yeah, in general, from your own cast and watching.
I think I've won a couple, but I've always regifted them to other people. Just because I've
Right.
had the advantage in the position that I'm in to get, you know, perks and stuff like that, to where like I never want to take things from other viewers, I guess, that don't have that privilege. So you know, it's not like I can just be like, just give me everything, PGI, and they'll give me everything. It's not like that. It's just like, if I really want a mech or something, I know the people to ask, and they might give it to me. So it's like, if I win something, I'm not like, I really need this mech bay. You know, I don't have like unlimited money or anything like that, but it's like I'd rather just let other people win. So I would gracefully and gratefully pass on any winnings to other people. But here we go.
Gotcha. Weird flex. Okay.
Weird flex. Let's just say that I've got a lot of mechs that I don't even play.
Oh, same. I won a Hellspawn pack at an NGNG stream a while back. Of all the mechs to win, the Hellspawn is probably not. Oh well. All right. So what do you see on Imperial side?
Well, let me fly across to the other side of the map and take a look. We've got a Kit Fox
Command coming
on
in.
the field with
Capturing
Stimrog,
resource point.
Piranha,
Any hostile
Kodiak
getting
3, Hellbringer,
Hold up,
an
hold up.
Atlas.
Is that an Atlas?
Is that an Atlas? That's Bowser
No
and an
way.
Atlas. LRM 15s.
An
3
LR
ER
Atlas.
large, 3 ER large lasers, and 4 LRM 15s. Let's see what the Kodiak's bringing. ER PPCs, Ultra AC2s, another Kodiak with Gauss PPC. What a classic build right there,
Kappa is
Gauss
under enemy
PPC.
control.
Is that a Kodiak 3 as well?
2 Kodiak 3s with Gauss PPC. Well, okay, one with Gauss PPC, one with ACs and I think, what was it, ACs and PPCs? Yeah, PPCs and 4 Ultra AC2s. So Magoat in the fleet, getting an early cap on Theta. Stimrog in tow with the Kit Fox.
I swear. If we see Bowser
Two
perform well in
narcs!
this LRM Atlas, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this all over Quick Play.
Stimrog has 2
Is
narcs
Narc
equipped.
Hitbox?
2 narcs on that ER medium laser Kit Fox. Just in case.
Just in
Oh, he
case
got
one wasn't
headshot.
enough.
He must have had 1 head armor because he just got scraped
A
and.
nice shot from Adam Markensteiner. He's almost halved already. His torso armor is 1 touch, and as soon as the torso goes, I guess he does have a second narc.
So
I
those
guess that's why they
Kodiaks
bring 2 narcs,
marching
just
up that
to
left
make it legal.
side. They've got a Panther, Nita Pickle, up in that position where the Wolfhound was prior. Whoa, Stimrog getting cut in half there. That torso that was not doing too hot has been ripped off. The narcs are gone. We didn't even get to see the narcs in play.
Oh no!
2 ER mediums
Both narcs in
remaining.
the same farm.
Oh man.
He's 1 touchdown. Yeah, he's basically out of the fight.
Yeah, he can go cap Gamma now, right? That's what I'd do if I was him. Just go harass Gamma repeatedly. But Hellbringer up on this left side, trading into Nita Pickle. Not doing any damage to him, but just trying to keep his head down. Well, Charlemagne in the Piranha making a move for Sigma. And here comes the scratch from multiple angles to try and hold him off at that point. 2 cap, though, in favor of Imperial. Only 1 for 228, which is Gamma. It looks like they are finally picking up Epsilon. But Sigma is going to remain... That's the key thing here. Oh, Jesus, TeamSpeak. Come on. Need my co-caster. All right. But yeah, so one of the key differences is Sigma was not captured by 228. It's remaining neutral, so they can sit there and stop Imperial from taking it all they want, but they are still 90 to, you know, a decent amount of tickets behind Imperial at this point. They need that 3rd cap big time.
Yeah. It does look though, Stimmer is getting a little bit feisty here with Panic Button and his Panther up on the mountain. So that could be a free kill here in a second. But
Yeah, I
it does
figured
look
he
like
was going to
Medo's
maybe
coming up
try to
help him.
Gamma, but good like positioning by Panic. I think they're just going to keep him from getting that. But he is putting some UAVs up, trying to get eyes on Panic, and I don't know if they quite know he's there. But just being a general
I think 228
presence.
Yeah, 228 really right now, they need to slow the game down, take advantage of some of these memeier mechs that Imperial has brought, such as this Atlas, and a old meta Kodiak, 2 Gauss rifles, 2 ER PPCs,
We got to move on
and
Gamma.
then 4 Ultra 2s on the other Kodiak.
Actually, this isn't a move on Gamma. This is a Charlemagne and Magoat gank squad coming up here. And it looks like Panic Button knows they're coming because he's looking directly at him. And he gets some burn in on Charlemagne in that Piranha. So they must have seen him coming, maybe a UAV up or somebody had some eyes on him. So they didn't get anything for it. Now Charlemagne breaking off to get that cap on Gamma. And it looks like 228 kind of expecting a push or a wolf pack. They're not going to stop that Gamma cap. At least not right away. So they're sending somebody over there now. Dom and the Javelin able to get up there. Let's see if he can get a burn on. There's a
I
strike.
think he might be a little bit out of range.
So the
Oh, okay, here we
yeah,
go.
the strike was a good
Yeah,
placement,
okay.
but even still, like Charlemagne could just press up against that. Now they got the 2 angles they need. They can burn Charlemagne here from those multiple angles. Every time he shifts, oh, but he's not peeking. One last bite's no longer peeking that angle, so all he has to do is put the center pillar between them. That's rough. They should have been able to pincer that so then he couldn't get the cap, but instead he was able to squeeze it
They
out.
have given up Gamma, but they took Sigma, so the game is still going to be moving slow, but 228, at this point, they need to pick up a kill or get aggressive or do something because
They've got
Imperial's
some
just gonna
big
draw
mechs
this
over
game
here,
out.
though. Gamma, you know, they were able to take Gamma, but now the Javelin's going to be able to go down there and start mixing it up with his Flea and Piranha, which is going to make these mechs come out of cover and potentially take a bunch of damage. They've got these mechs right where they want them. They could get a pickup on these lights, but they need to get it done. They got a Battle Master, one last bite, marching over there right now. They might call this, and Imperial might make a big move knowing that one of these big range mechs is no longer on the field. And here we go. Charlemagne instantly getting lagged, trying to get up on Dom. Surprise! And he gets taken down quickly. Magoat smartly getting around the corner, but he's in a bad position. And he gets lagged as well! There's a big pickup. 2 quick legs, instant legs, and that's 2 light mechs off the field for Imperial. And now we're going to see, I'm assuming, some aggression out of Imperial. But that's a big pickup right there. Epsilon getting back capped, though. Stimrog in that weak Kit Fox. He's getting the cap.
He's trying to make himself useful. But with the decap on Gamma, it's still going to be a 3-2 cap. But 228 being 3 cappers to 1 for Imperial, that's going to be huge in the coming future. Only a couple hundred tickets to go, though. So Imperial still has a chance here, even though they're down basically 3 mechs.
Yeah, they're trying. They're sending over Nita Pickle now in that Panther.
Atlas.
Yeah, Nita Pickle's gonna try and take him out.
Data.
Stimrog now getting burned by Panic Button coming from the other side, so they got a pincer now on Stimrog. And this Epsilon is going to be able to flip back relatively quick now with multiple mechs, and he gets taken down. They'll get the instant flip back on Epsilon, now putting it 3-2 in favor of 228. But we're far enough in the tickets. Is that going to be enough? Imperial digging in now, trying to hold Theta.
We have gained
They're going to
Epsilon.
be forced to get really aggressive here if they want to take this before tickets run out.
Yeah, they've got
2 tickets.
They don't need back cappers anymore. They need people backstabbing. They need to get aggressive on Bowser in this Atlas and start shooting him in the back. Dom in that Javelin could be putting some damage downfield, but he's kind of touring around right now. They need to go quick. Time's ticking. Kappa, though, is being threatened here. Oh, that's where they went. They went to. They didn't go to Theta. They went to Kappa.
Oh.
Panic Button in the Panther now.
That's cheeky.
Yep, that's gonna put them 4 caps. That they needed that. That was a good play.
They've backed Imperial into a corner here. If they can take out Bowser, they can get a 5 cap.
They might be conceding Sigma here, but although the angles they have, they could really make it hard for them. Yeah, Bowser now getting hit
Looks
from
like
multiple
Mighty Rank
angles.
to try to
We have
take it.
possession of Kappa.
He's getting backstabbed. 45,
Oblivion-
and he gets taken out.
If Oblivion can stop Sigma cap, then I think it's going to go 228's way.
Yeah, this is 5 cap now in favor of 228. And it is going to be incredibly difficult for them to be able to take
Resource
Sigma,
point
so
Beta is ours.
a little bit of a Mimi build there for Imperial, kind of backfiring. Getting really close to potentially an 8-0 victory for 228 here as the tickets start to bleed away on this 5 cap. It's not going to be long.
Here comes the Dom on Imminent. The DPS from this Javelin is just going to shred this Blackjack. And he's legged.
Rick Rom in the Kodiak falls. Imminent about to fall. And Mighty Rant attempting the cap.
Just Mighty Rant left and Sigma.
Oh,
picks up a kill.
he did pick up a kill. But he's not going to get the cap. And there it is. 228 picking up a single drop against Imperial. But Imperial able to secure their first place position in MOR. Well played. So that light gank there, there was good aggression to take out those 2 lights. They had them kind of backed into a corner there. And they
Yeah,
capitalized
Stimrog with
on
a
that.
total of 28 damage. That's a huge throw from him. Getting half that early and losing both of his narcs. Bowser did pull 335, but he maybe could have been twice as effective if some of those narcs had been able to land before he got stripped. Huge damage from Totok and Hellbringer Virago.
Yeah, he was playing
Just
up over
Kodiak
the top.
over on the left side.
He kind of moved up into where that Wolfhound was last match and just really high peak position and just able to constantly put some of those ER large lasers downfield. So a good finish for 228,
I
but
think
that
I
was
think Imperial knew they won.
yeah. I mean, at this point, like, it didn't matter to them as much, just because they've secured first place. Let's have a little fun with it, bringing in an Atlas with LRMs and stuff. How much did he end up pulling in that Atlas? 300, still pulling 335 damage.
350.
So that's a decent amount of damage from that mech. Obviously, he had ER large lasers as well, which helps when he can't get locks. But the good ganks on the lights there and stuff. But I don't think it mattered to them all that much. They secured their first place position and able to have a little bit of fun with it. But 228 able to turn around and say, okay, you're going to have some fun with it. Well, we're going to make you pay for it. So well played, 228. But 4-1 victory in favor of Imperial. Congratulations, Imperial. Good solid win. That's kind of what we're used to seeing, isn't it?
I do believe so. Imperial has pretty much dominated this Div A. They are undefeated, and the score shows it.
Cool. All right. Let's see here. Are we doing any sort of interviews? Looks like Bowser's in one already.
I believe so. Can contact some of the team leaders.
I'm just gonna sit here and click back and forth.
Oh yeah, we
between
should
these
probably
guys.
hop over to.
MWO Cop. It's so awesome. I love it. I love stingers. This is that high quality, high production value shoutcast brought to you by MW Comp and MOR and all that jazz. But big thanks to the people that put their time and energy into designing this stuff to make it that much easier for you guys to watch. Hopefully you enjoy it. Make sure you guys follow the channel, MWO Leagues. And if you got a subscription handy, why not toss them a little bit, right? You got your Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, just kind of laying around doing nothing. You're like, what am I going to do with this? I don't even watch anybody else. MWO is the only game I play. What am I going to give it to somebody like Shroud? And they don't care. They've got a million of those things.
Oh my goodness.
So what am I going to do with this? Why not toss it over to MWO Leagues, huh? That's what I did.
Real quick, before I'm gonna have to interrupt your solicitation right now. They are ready for us.
All
in
right.
the Discord.
Let's hop over to the Discord now.
Hey guys, fantastic matches tonight. If I do say so myself, really enjoyed both Grim Plexus drops. Those were nail biting. Oh, Panic Button's here as well. So we're joined by Bowser from Imperial, One Last Bite from 228, as well as Panic Button from 228.
Does my mic work today?
Yes,
It does.
Hold the push to talk longer.
Sorry.
All right, well, yeah, that was an interesting set of matches there. Congratulations, of course, Imperial clinching their first place position in MOR NA Div A.
Thank you.
And 228, kind of a rough outing for you guys on this one. I'm sure you were hoping to pick up a few more drops before your match against Black Omen, right? Trying to shoot for that second place position at the very least.
So, if 228 wouldn't mind, let's go through drop one a little bit. I want you guys. We were talking a little bit about the decision-making process to brawl push the AC2 firing line. Could you guys walk us through maybe some of the calls there and the information y'all had before you made the decision to rush that Nova?
Yeah, so I think everybody that's looked at Forest Colony has pretty much concluded that it's a small map. I think that's an easy thing to see. So most people are either trying to do long range with enough stopping power to put down a push deck, or just going for a push deck like what we took. So we figured there was going to be adversity, obviously, and you can't leave anybody by their home cap. I think it's like Sigma or something, because it would just have lines forever, right? So we started to push up there to clear that, and what we should have done was as soon as we came around the rock under Radio Tower, Pride Rock, we should have just run straight at the guys in the water. But basically we just had a miscommunication about where the direwolves were, and it went something along the lines of that we called they were in C2. Mechs at front of push assumed that meant by Sigma, but it actually meant the part of C2 that's by the water, because that grid covers like most of the area on the side of the map. So we ended up pushing right, thinking that there were mechs we needed to clear out. There weren't, so that ended up being that we just came around the corner and had a terrible angle. And then icing on the cake, we just split up because there were calls that our Mad Dog was getting pushed. So at that point, we were super screwed.
Yeah, it seemed like somebody got left behind on that left side, and he did get pushed, but kind of got left alone there and shredded down. I think it was the Nova came around on that right side, I believe. I think that was Selith. But yeah, it just seemed like it was in general just kind of a big tour from you guys, and just Imperial able to just dig in and just hold the trigger down, and then when you did get close, they just had an easy rotation into water just to keep the range and just keep you at arm's length.
Then Bowser, on Imperial side, what was the thought process on that? Were you all just going to play Turret Warrior online in the water, or were you eventually going to move up into other position?
It just depends on the deck. Like Panic said, there's two ways to play the map. You either push or get pushed. So that was literally our match MO, basically. We could just find out whether they're pushing or whether we have to push them. And that's basically, the map is very straightforward, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't know, the Direwolf choice seems like a dig in from the beginning. I think we had said that like if we saw Annihilators or Direwolves, it's really difficult to actually shove with. So yeah, when we made the call out, I got up to the radio tower and I spotted them back, and it's kind of ironic that for all the times we've played these maps, we actually don't have a specific call out for that little rock pile that's down the hill from the spawn. And so when I called out the Direwolf positions, which were kind of like, it's you know, no discredit to anyone, it's really easy to put mechs in these positions, like on either side of the map. You either put them at the top or you put them near the water. So like I said, if the Direwolf had to push, it needed to be up front. So if they had a slow-moving mech like that, it was going to be a doorstop. It needed to be close to the water. It was just a miscommunication. I think we would have had a closer outcome, potentially, you know, maybe not a win, because that's still a hell of a lot of armor to chew through and a lot of DPS. But yeah, we would have at least seen combat a little bit more.
Did you guys feel like if you saw Direwolves and Annihilators that you can change up your strat to slow things down and go for the cap and make them have to haul that over to you, or is it too late at that point?
Nope.
I hadn't done Forest Colony, we wouldn't even bother.
Yeah, it's too late at Mech Lab. If you don't have the drop that's gonna sit back and trade, you just don't have the drop that's gonna sit back. The map itself, if you look at from water to the rock up near like up the little elbow up there, it's about I think it's about 800 meters at its like longest point, essentially longest feasible. So you're looking at being almost in like heavy DACA range, so AC5s, AC10, almost immediately. The one big issue with low side Team 1 is that you don't have the option to cover Kappa from your spawn unless you move very far up in water. So it's kind of like I think at that point we just said, okay, we're just going to shove, and so we've got to move all the way up initially, and then work on our finer like footwork in the cluttered area around their spawn. And we failed to do that. And as I've said before, if you cock up against a team that's like of the caliber of Black Omen or EMP, you're just going to get put down. If we don't get a good engagement, we're going to lose. You know, it's going to lose badly. That's what happened. We came up, we committed, we lost badly.
So you kind of saying that this map is kind of like rock, paper, scissors. You picked scissors and they picked rock, basically.
No, less.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying that you kind of have to make that decision in the mech lab, and you made your decision, and you made your bed and you have to sleep in it.
It's not the worst candidate for that description. It's kind of like if it was rock, paper, scissors, but just with two options.
But my point of contention would be that you can actually we could win with rock in that scenario, or we could win with scissors. However, it makes it a lot more complicated. If you can make fewer mistakes, depending on the mech lab.
Yeah, it just seemed pathing was a huge issue. Communication and pathing.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think of the map now that you get to play it again?
It's very different from what I remember it. Very different.
it's
The game
too-
is
We
very,
always
very
played it
Yeah.
skirmish before.
Too bloody with clan tech.
Yeah, it's as I recall it, as soon as Clan Tech launched, right before they took it out, which is, oh look, we spawned, shoot them. Like if we went water, if we went water side on that with the DACA trade, like if we had Direwolves AC2 ZR larges, then we would be trading from like 3 seconds into the match or less. It's very brutal.
So power has out-creeped this map a little bit.
It's still fun, but I don't know if I would have picked it for not more 8, good league, thank you, golf. I don't know if I would have put it for drop 1 because it could turn into just like an assault mech dick punching contest.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough. Moving on to drop 2, the Grim Plexus drop. So, I'm excited to go back and watch Bowser's stream and see his reaction when they took your right arm off immediately, and then later on coming back as a strip mech and winning the game for your team. So, just talk us through that. Was it just a misplay, not watching the clock, or did you guys think you were close enough to sneak in there at the last second?
I would say it was a misplay, but I would also say it was more of a consequence of the fact that we lost the drop long before it came down to time. Like, I think we had...
some of those mech choices, for instance, the Zeus and the Supernova, those were exciting to see, if not a little bit different.
I mean, it's not. I don't think you. Don't look at it from mech choices. Look at it from. I would look at it from a tonnage. Our immediate retrospective on this map when we left was, well, we probably should have tonned down those mechs just from 80-ton, 90-ton assault mechs into mediums and heavy, because the more you pile on value in terms of tonnage to a mech, the more of a target it becomes. And then these drops like 2 and 3, where it's so light that if you lose an assault mech, it's essentially a game. It's not game over, but it does provide the other team with a significant snowball. And so I sat there afterwards and said, well, we've done that before. Like we put, did we play you guys last time? We put a supernova on Mining Collective. I say easy kill, and then there's like 90 tons off the table that was whether or not it should have been there is entirely irrelevant. It's too heavy for that drop potentially, or at least that strategy.
Is it sad that the first thing my mind goes to whenever I think of having a couple really high ton mechs is when 228 bid 3 mechs in the first season of NBT against Isengrim, and then they brought a bunch of light mechs or something and were able to kill them in Crimson.
Oh, that was fun.
That was hilarious. But that's the thing my brain keeps going back to is 3 assault mechs versus a whole bunch of little tiny mechs, and the whole bunch of little tiny mechs win.
That's well,
Is my Discord messing up now? It's definitely my computer that's the issue. I don't understand. Sorry, can you repeat that, Panic?
No, yeah, the Direwolves versus Lights was actually winnable, but in this case, because we basically just walked forward into the tunnel on the map that you're talking about, and yeah, the light mechs can get up and behind you and all around you. The reason we took those on Crimson Straits, the reason we thought that meme was going to work was that we could actually stand up on top of the rail bridges, and we just completely lost our minds when we got into the drop. This was a case of we basically just presented a top tier team with a plate of cookies on one end of the map, and they had a lot of fast mechs. They were going to get there first. It didn't matter how much we put down on the back end. I mean, I think the percentages were quite close, but it doesn't matter because our three mechs that were 90% of our weight got hamstrung by a pack of really good light, medium, and linebacker pilots. It's just you can't do that and win the game.
They still
Yeah, it
put
was
some
interesting to
decent damage
see.
out though for how quickly they were taken down. Still, they put up a little bit of numbers for being the 1, 2, and 3 dead.
Yeah, that's correct. It's just that the other mechs on our squad, just not able to follow. If you think about the fact that they're damage limited by the amount of exposure that they had to the enemy team, then you imagine that if they were in mechs that were maybe faster or more survivable, they might have done that same amount of damage, lived a little bit longer, and managed to pick up a few kills. I think EMP had a couple of like fresh mechs left, but like it wasn't. I didn't think it was as disparate as it might have appeared on the scorecard.
No, it was very close. It's just Bowser managed to squeak that one out. So from EMP's standpoint, were those mechs trying to draw them away from the circle, maybe take advantage of the fact that they weren't paying attention to the score clock?
No, we were literally just trying to kill the big mechs because we knew after we killed the big mechs it'd pretty much be GG from there because they had a whole light force, and indeed it was. So the gank on me was, yeah. I don't really know what to say about that. I did not expect that at all. However, they've done it in the past, so maybe I should have expected it.
It's definitely exciting to watch. Moving on to drop 3, can you guys walk us through that split push and the decision to stall a little bit and start to trade with the Stormcrow and the Nova?
Yeah, yeah. Nah,
I'd rather not.
I was angry, but
Let's just not. Let's not talk about that.
mean,
That map
alright.
didn't.
I was there.
I was
Yeah.
there.
The idea was that you have the guys blitzing straight down. I mean, a similar push to basically you have the mediums and the lights doing the push angle that EMP did, which is like straight along the hill, like through the edge of the circle. I mean, that's just a really effective angle to take because it puts you in G7, which is basically the center point of the map, and you really can't get shot too much in time before you get down there. And then we were sending the linebackers down the 5 line, so like behind gas station and the tanks, thinking, you know, who's gonna expect this? Who's gonna bother scouting G5 or mechs coming at them right off the bat? Because you'd have to really rush to even see that. So the idea being that we would pincer stuff in gas station because from the Team 1 side, that's one of the more popular places to hold. And we figured that EMP would put at least somebody there, or if not there, we could just run over to G7, which I think is their heavy mechs ended up in between those 2 spots. So yeah, that was the initial plan, and we called a medium in I5, which we didn't expect, and then went down there figuring, okay, they must have done something cheeky like a ear large hunchy or something. Found out it was a Stormcrow, and then basically just people lost their minds. Like we had some people stay and try to poke the Stormcrow. We had some people call to pull off the Stormcrow and get back. At the same time, our mediums ran into their heavies that we found over by gas station, and were calling, hey, we need to come kill these guys. There were split calls as to which group we should consolidate on, and it was basically just chaos. I don't think we eventually decided just to dive on their Stormcrows and the other stuff that was in the back and take that out, but I don't think that was the right choice. And yeah,
It was a pretty
it was
good map.
bad after that, and then of course we had to dive for circle, but that was mostly just because we failed so hard on our original plan.
Yeah, it looked like there was a good 15-20 seconds there where you guys were just a little bit of indecision, in which case your mediums that pushed Golf 7 just got absolutely tortured by some of the DACA and laser from EMP.
Yeah, they had good positions to intercept that. It was entertaining the difference between like in scrimmages, like pushing in on that area just went really, really smoothly. And then, like, you know, wild Stormcrow appears, and yeah, Mike set himself on fire, and somebody else had a grenade, and there was like I don't even know what happened.
So, just in general, Grim Plexus domination, the movement of the domination circle over a little bit more to that east side. What do you guys think? Positive change?
I thought they moved it.
No, they
Couldn't
moved it a
remember.
while ago.
You gotta
Yeah,
remember, Bandit
positive change
hasn't
for
been
sure.
here forever.
I'm a little detached from domination. I
Um,
didn't do much with domination.
It's interesting to see y'all almost forego the circle on both drops to where it actually kind of mattered, instead of, you know, taking positions in Golf 8 and balling.
But there you're wrong. It actually didn't matter in either drop, and I'm sure Bowser will attest that their EMP won both drops without the circle. The circle was just like icing on the. they had
Yeah,
something in-
I would tend to agree.
Yeah, we just
Drops are pretty much over by the time circle was a relevant factor.
Yeah.
But it's just another win con, you know, in case something happened.
yeah they just had somebody sitting in there as like, oh, in case all of our guys like override and explode or something like that.
Yeah. The thing I would say on the movement just to touch on that, I think it was good, like we said, but the main reason is because it opens up the right side of the map. I think all the sides, like the 2 hills on the left side, gas station and hamburger, you're still able to play them with this new position. Whereas in the old position, you just had to play them. But now, like, you can do a little more around behind that middle main hill.
It seems like Team 1 almost has the option to go all the way over to Golf 9, Fox 9, and some of those range positions that you only really see in faction play. Like, just really strange positions that are now
What's,
What's
faction.
faction play?
what's faction play?
Yeah.
Is that like community warfare?
Sorry.
Anyway,
We'll stop.
moving on to Job 4. So, what do you guys think happened on Job 4? Just lost map control, lost trades, a bit of both?
Ugh.
A little miscommunication early on because like I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, and so I thought that we were supposed to be like ingressing on the guys that were along, and so I kind of went down too far. But apparently my job was to cover the cover our 2 guys up on top of the hill. So it's kind of like it's just I don't know. That's Alpine's a slow grind if you're actually playing it. If you're really trying on it, it's usually like a slow grind unless you're trying like a super meme deck like we did I think the last time we played EMP we did like a rush with linebackers and ATMs and LRMs and garbage. But that which also has a potential to work. Point. But it's but like a lot of times it's just a slow grind, and so I think that we just kind of the ER large light mechs on the Sigma Hill really counter. And again, so we saw that last time, and I don't know if we actually made a plan to counter that. We kind of had this right side play with Gamma, but that didn't really come through either. So we kind of didn't. I think we had the positions we thought we won, but it still didn't allow us the total map control that we wanted. It's just really difficult for that low team to control Theta if the upper team has the high ground way in the back and rotates over Sigma, because that kind of gives them full reign of what's going on. There's a couple of little locations you can shoot at Theta, but then there's a couple of places in pockets you can hide on Theta in. I was in one of those pockets against WKL last week. That's kind of it just is what it is.
Yeah, definitely a tough match. It seemed like you guys potentially had the ability, especially when you did that wide flank, to maybe pick up the Warhammer and some of the lighter mechs, but when they chased you off, that miscommunication where they fragged you before your medium mechs could really help.
No,
well,
medium and the Incubus were in no position.
Yeah.
There were 3 heavies down there, so I just shouldn't have been that close. Is all it is.
We originally had the MPL Incubus instead of the Osiris as more of the screening mech to keep the same speed, but be able to punch if something came up to contest the Hunchback. And we never really planned for having it go around the top side of the map. That was more just like an in-drop decision. And we used our second Incubus in favor of memes in drop 2, so we didn't have it to spend and figured the Osiris would be a good enough fit. Not really. So that kind of hurt, and we tried to... The problem was that we couldn't push their Warhammer and Hellbringer off that, whatever that is, H7, the bottom of the main hill. Because that meant that 1, our Huntsman couldn't really do anything useful. 2, all of our guys on the Kilo 7, like bottom side of the map, are just going to get crushed in trades. And 3, our lights and stuff can't do anything cheeky around the right side because we can't really move up with those guys watching the hill. So we figured we could do it with a Hunchback and a light, but it's just, A, you're not doing enough damage, B, it's hard enough to win those trades when you're down that much tonnage.
Yeah. Was that an ATM
Not even counting
Huntsman?
the Panther. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, the Warhammer just shut him down on the Kappa side of the map.
Yeah, literally any mech could have shut him down that has any range beyond like 500 and sits up on that hill and cover it. Yeah, it didn't matter what it was. It was just kind of, if we didn't shove the guys off the hill, if we weren't able to force a movement off of the main hill, then we couldn't focus on controlling the center hill, and we couldn't get the ATM Huntsman into play other than to like stare at Theta. But even at Theta, he's got a little hill in the way, and he'd have to full expose to get lines on it. So it's just kind of like a cascading issue, if you will. And the guys on the left were not in a place where they could actually trade with their ER large laser light mech.
Not to mention you had Stimrog and the Wolfhound on Sigma just controlling it.
I feel like
Yeah,
we
that was
should
the-
ask Bowser a question. Did Stimrog
I would
like,
love a
sing
question.
Did he sing a little ditty when he was completely annihilating everybody with his Wolfhound?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say he did for sure.
He probably
Well,
didn't feel too
Finnish
nervous
tune.
at all.
A little
just-
Finnish tune. Yeah.
He was basically still like yellow armor by the end of it. The only thing he lost was his arms. It's like nobody could touch him. It's just too fast and agile and great positioning, and just, I don't even know what you could even do against that position. It's insane. But that's not much of a question, I guess, because I mean, what are we supposed to ask you, Bowser? What would you like us to ask you?
Oh, I don't know. Well, honestly, I don't. I guess from our perspective, the drop went pretty textbook. When they moved people up on the hill, we pretty much rotated people just to take care of that, and then eventually caps became an issue. But that's when we just moved off, and they were so hurt from our trading that we just kind of cleaned it up, as was pretty evident, I think, in the cast.
Well, we can certainly ask you this question. Drop 5, LRM Atlas, huh?
We were trying very hard to win that drop. No sarcasm. We were trying very hard to win that drop. Pretty disappointed when we lost today.
Definitely appreciate.
Stimrod was supposed to be narking for me, but yeah.
I do have one question. He did bring a double narc Kid Fox, which I can see the wisdom of that.
And he got his narc side shot off.
Why
like, almost
why
immediately.
put both narcs in the same torso?
That's a question for the man himself and not me, unfortunately.
It has to be in the same arm because it doesn't get the narc bonuses with it, which is why the Jenner is superior. You should have used that instead. But it's
Okay.
5 tons heavier.
That was interesting to see. Definitely appreciate the LRM Atlas. If you had done well, I would have regretted it though, because then we probably would have seen a bunch of them running around in quick play. Yeah,
I
that was
thought we
definitely
already see LRM Atlases in quick play.
way too many. Yeah, y'all did a fantastic job cutting off those or pulling both those lights over there and just stepping on them before they really made a difference in the game.
I mean, they almost did.
They
It was,
very almost did. We actually didn't anticipate a Bomb Master to be sent all the way over there. It's pretty much the reason why we lost him.
Yeah. I mean,
guys-
even with that, they was nearly lost on caps.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, like one thing watching Kappa would have had us. Or like one thing with the larges, I mean.
Yeah, either way, fantastic drops tonight, guys. Congrats on the win, EMP. You guys definitely have shown you deserve it.
Thank you. Well played to do it.
Yeah, good to see you guys playing against each other yet again. Hopefully we can see more of that in the future here, and hopefully we see you guys in another World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Alrighty, thanks everybody for watching. This has been a fantastic catch, fantastic end to NA Div A first place position battle. And thanks again to the team.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And that's going to be it for us tonight. We're going to do one more giveaway, actually 2 more giveaways here right at the end. Let's see here. Let's add those viewers. Once again, we're going to do a Mech Bay. And we're rolling for the Mech Bay now. Once again, make sure you guys are following MWO Leagues. Why don't you toss them one of them subscriptions as well? Support the league, support the channel. Congratulations, Mr. Ripper 707. You win a Mech Bay. I'll be sending you that code right after the stream is concluded. And then the last thing I have to give away today, another 1000 MC. Let's roll that now.
All the fancy items. Yeah, I heard somewhere if you give a Twitch Prime subscription, you're like, I don't know, 10% more likely to win a giveaway?
Is that how that works?
Somebody confirm that?
I feel like we'd get sued if we say that.
I don't know, I think it's worth a shot. It can't hurt.
Can't hurt. Can't hurt. And for the last code of the night, we've got Oblivion 5K. Congratulations, you win 1000 MC. So that is going to be it for us today. And that, of course, was Week 6 for Division A North American Martial Olympiad Reborn. I'm still getting used to saying that. Why did they have to pick a name like that? Just kind of MOR. MOR 8v8. There is, of course, 228 versus Black Omen still needs to occur to lock down that second place position in the NA Division A division. And I don't know if that's going to get cast or not, but make sure you guys follow on Twitter, follow them on Reddit, whatever. Just go on the tournament site, look at the schedule. It's all over the place. And, of course, they have the MWO Comp Discord. If you are not in the MWO Comp Discord, make sure you guys join that Discord, because it's not just MOR. We've got BFM, the Goon 1v1s, all kinds of different leagues all in one place. And, of course, the website as well, mwocomp.com. So get involved, get in a team, get into competitive MechWarrior Online, and start getting ready for the World Championship. That is it for me today. And of course, TeamSpeak decides to do that stupid crap one last time. Let's see if we can get back in there. There he is. That is it for us today. I, of course, am BanditB17, and this is Kamichiwa.
Kamichiwa 343.
We will see you guys later.
Adios.
Cat says goodbye too. See you guys.